Welcome back to OK Sister Podcast. My name is Mads.
My name is Scout, and I'm so happy to be here with you today.
I was going to say, your skin is glowing.
Oh my God, thank you.
What happened?
I was thinking that yesterday.
What happened?
Honestly, diet. I hate to tell you guys, I hate it, and I really resisted this for a very long time. And then I did it, and I was like, I can't go back because having this skin, no sugar, no dairy.
Well, you've always done no dairy.
No, but I just recently really committed fully to no dairy for the last year-ish. No, less than a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, about a year. No sugar came about a year ago. But ever since I've done that, and there's one other thing in the diet that I've done. Oh, I've also now reduced my caffeine a lot.
So that is funny.
Those are the three acne triggers.
Okay. So
of course, my skincare is clean, and I have all, I go on ClearStem. I make sure that I'm not using pore clogging ingredients. But I would still break out even when I used completely, acne safe skincare. So I'm at this point, I'm like, it is 1,000% diet.
Totally. I went to the doctor because the hormonal acne was hormonal acneing.
As it does.
Whew, baby.
What'd they say? Wait, which doctor? What kind of doctor?
I go to this place called Almond in West Hollywood, and they're basically a gyno, but they do why are you laughing?
Because if a trendy gyno were to open in West Hollywood, it would 100% be called Almond.
Well, that's what it's called,
yeah,
almond.
Yeah.
Anyways, because it's like a vagina.
Yeah, I
get it.
Yep, I get it.
Anyways, they do holistic, it's not just gynecology. They'll look at hormonal acne, hormonal health, all these things. So I went there because I was like, what's going on? Because I was gonna go to a dermatologist. The healthcare system in this fucking country, don't get me started. I don't even know how to go to a dermatologist. I went on Anthem on my fucking healthcare, and I was like, dermatologist, and it's like, here's thousands of people, but they don't take your insurance, but they say that they do. I'm like, I can't. I'm so.
And
people
they
are
can't
screaming
see
at
you
me
for another 6 months.
People are screaming at me. I have no idea who to. Decision fatigue. It's too much. So
you can't get in. So
can't get in. And Almond we'd worked with for Camber, and I was like, oh my God, Almond. And so I just was like, bitch, help me, please.
Trendy bitch, help me.
Trendy bitch, help me. And she, we talked about my history, and obviously she looked at the hormonal acne. I'm getting my blood drawn because I want to get I've never gotten my hormones checked. There is something wildly wrong because I haven't changed anything very drastically in my diet. I haven't been more stressed than usual.
Yeah.
And for the past 3 years after getting my IUD removed, I didn't have one pimple on my face.
Uh-huh.
So why now? Why this day?
Why this day? Why is this day like any other day?
Any other days,
Dying.
there's hormonal acne. I don't understand. So it's unclear. So
Almond didn't have the answer.
Almond didn't have. Well, we're looking at the blood. I need to get my blood drawn. But I'm also doing the acne test through ClearStem. They sent me. They have this also blood. I gotta get a lot of blood. I'm gonna faint from all this blood I'm getting drawn. But I have to get more blood drawn because they're gonna look at my acne and prescribe me something. I don't know what happens at the end of it. But caffeine. That's funny that you say that because.
As I was drinking caffeine, I used to drink two cups in the morning. When people say cups, they mean a mug. They don't mean the actual measurement, right?
So I drink a big mug.
Yeah, so I drink 2 small ones, which is equivalent to about 6 actual measuring cups. No, sorry, 3 measuring cups. But I drink 2 normal sized mugs full in the morning.
Sure.
Then I would have a latte, a cold brew, something else later in the day, and then I would suffer from these insane afternoon slumps as we've all talked about.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm on a fucking mission to cure this afternoon slump, and my acne was fine, but it was still terrainy.
Well.
Terrainy. It wasn't smooth and beautiful. It was terrainy.
Yikes.
So I was like, that next coffee thing has got to go. I need to try it. It's going to be miserable. I'm going to hate my life for a second. I did it. I'm obviously drinking coffee right now because we're doing 3 podcast episodes. I'm driving up to LA. I'm going home. On days like this, I'll have more. But I will have a green tea or a black tea.
Oh, yeah.
around 2 or 3 if I need it. and my skin has never looked better. My afternoon slumps have never been, they're not so prevalent anymore. So that change really helped. And then another change was I stopped eating after we had Alana Molstein on the podcast. Great episode on nutrition, highly recommend. Really popped off. I don't have a piece of toast in the morning. I swap that carb in my breakfast for a banana.
Yeah.
And removing, for the most part, even gluten.
Mm-hmm. I never have gluten or dairy at home. I don't even know how to cook gluten or dairy, so I don't have it.
Well, I mean, just like toast. But
I don't have toast. So the caffeine, back to the caffeine.
Right.
So the issue with me, I was the same. I had cups in the morning and then I switched to like decaf because I just love the taste. It's like, I also always need to have a cute little drink. I need to. It just makes work so much more bearable.
You got to do hot water and lemon then.
It doesn't hit. It
Okay.
doesn't hit. Okay. And I posted on TikTok, I remember being like, what are we doing for our silly little afternoon drinks? Okay. Because I'm not into matcha. The tea is too watery. Like it needs to have depth like a coffee does. Like it needs to satiate. You know what I mean? And so there was this brand called Kamana and she commented and she was like, oh my God, I'm like, you need to try our coffee alternative. It's something called mesquite, which...
Oh, I think you posted about it the other day.
Yes, because I went to her little pop-up. So she's been DMing me and she had the exact same issues. Bloating, hormonal acne. Like she also did decaf because she was like, maybe it's the caffeine spiking my cortisol. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, she was traveling or something and she went to a cafe. I don't know. I think she was in Peru, but go see because the superfood is like from Peru. And she went to a cafe and she's like, let me just get like a decaf coffee. They gave it to her and she was like, this doesn't taste exactly like coffee, but it's really good. It kind of tastes like hot chocolatey almost. And she went back the next day and she asked them like what it was. And they're like, oh, it's actually not decaf coffee. It's mesquite, which is just this like coffee alternative, no caffeine and acid free. So that was something that perked me up because the acidity in coffee, it's interesting. Like some people can really tolerate it and it's fine. There are days where I'm the most bloated I've ever been because of just coffee.
Yeah, I can tolerate
It's the acid.
I can tolerate it really
See,
well.
I can't tolerate the acid. Like some days it's fine, but then if I have a coffee after I've pooped in the morning, like it's the coffee, the poop, and then I have another one, stomach is fucked.
Oh,
so it's the
interesting.
acid. So I was really intrigued. She gave me stuff to try at home. I don't have a coffee machine anymore, which Scout
I
witnessed.
can't even. Like, I'm still scarred from the night that I spent at your house a couple weeks ago. Like, I'm going to spare you the embarrassment
first of all,
of me saying the living conditions that you forced me into.
oh my God.
I'm gonna
relax.
I
First
am
of all,
gonna
you
spare
literally
you the
texted me the day before.
embarrassment.
I'm sleeping on your couch. I was like, okay, well, that gave me absolutely no time to prepare.
You don't have a fucking sheet?
No,
You
I don't
don't
have
have
a sheet.
a fucking blanket?
No, I have sheets for my bed. I have one sheet for my bed.
I have no words. And then at the end, like there were so many things, sisters. Like I'm not even gonna say it out loud.
I did run out of toilet paper.
Okay,
that was
she
bad.
ran out of
I
toilet
ran out of
paper.
toilet. That was bad.
And then I go, oh, what's the coffee plan in the morning? And she goes, oh, I just do instant. And that was it for me.
So
I was out.
I've been drinking instant coffee for a very long
Okay,
time.
but this is the best part. My sister, who is everything trendy, everything female founded, everything 5 times the price than it is at CVS, everything artisanal, everything.
Okay.
You get it, right? They have 15,000 Instagram followers at least on Instagram, the whole fucking checklist. She drinks Kroger's instant coffee. It wasn't even like a high-end, like sponsored by Camber situation. Kroger's.
Listen.
Kroger's.
Listen.
I'm sleeping on the couch as a 33-year-old mother in a blanket that's never been
gave
washed.
me one day.
There's no toilet paper, and I'm drinking Kroger's.
Okay.
Justice for me.
Listen. There was reasons why I got away with the coffee machine because I was making too full of a pot. I'm the only one that drinks coffee in our household. So then I was drinking the whole pot. That was so much caffeine. I don't like the pods. I don't like the Nespresso. I don't like the pods. What other alternative do you have to a single pot coffee? So instant coffee, okay? So that's the reasoning behind the instant coffee.
Okay.
Yes, there are very beautiful brands. I love Canyon Coffee. I love Blue Bottle. Love them. They do send me free product once in a while. That being said, I just cannot stomach spending like that much money I might as well just go to the coffee shop and buy it. Okay. So
Okay.
the Kroger's is because I sometimes get it at Erewhon. Okay. So it's not entirely.
Okay, it's Kroger's at Erewhon. Mark, don't get mistaken.
It's not. Okay. Anyways, so moving forward, going back to my mesquite,
This is not the point of the episode.
Sorry, no, we'll get to it. But I was telling Kamana, and I was saying, I don't really. She was like, you can do it as the same way that you make espresso or you make your coffee in the morning. And I was like, well, I do instant coffee, so I don't think this. And I tried to do it. You can't really do it with instant coffee. So she was like, oh my God, why didn't you tell me? And I was going to her pop up, and she was like, I'm bringing you a little pot that you put on the stove for espresso.
A kettle?
A kettle, a mini kettle.
Okay.
And she was so lovely. So I finally went there and I tried it and I was like, this will do.
Okay.
This will do. Okay. The taste is fantastic. The depth, again, there's this depth that I need, a thickness, if you will. So the last 2 days, I have not drank any coffee.
Wow.
And I've
Like
been
at
making
all?
this at all.
You don't have a headache?
No, I had a green tea
Okay,
yesterday.
so you need something because
I had
else
a
you're
green
gonna a headache.
I know. I had a green tea
That's good.
yesterday, but my biggest concern was that I was worried it wasn't going to make me poop in the morning. Mission accomplished, bitch.
Okay, wow.
Now we don't know if it was the mesquite or if it's the seed and the all the shit that I take for the digestion. I take so many pills for the digestion. You have no idea.
I don't know.
So
Someone do a wellness
I
check.
will keep you posted on my journey, but that's why when you went to Erewhon, I asked you not for a coffee, but for a chaga.
Yeah.
and
Also,
hot
okay, so
water.
my problem with the matcha, which I think was a lot of my problem with the lattes, is I think that
I can't have milk.
I can't have the almond and the oat milk. I think it's not good for you.
None of it is good unless it is raw almond milk.
I think it was contributing to my afternoon slumps. I think the
Something
sugar
with
is
the
high.
xanthan gum or whatever the fuck is in
Yeah,
there.
it's not
I don't
good.
do any milk, anything.
That's my problem with the matcha latte is that you have to drink milk with it, and it's just it doesn't sit
and
well with my
a
stomach.
matcha americano. Sorry.
Okay, well, I'm taking
So
away
there's
that we're both working on our coffee habits.
We're working on our caffeine intake, apparently and so I'm excited to see how that affects my hormonal acne.
So
the end.
You would love this. So Adam and I were talking about Tulum, and we know that I'm a get coffee into my veins within 5 minutes of waking up and don't talk to me kind of girl.
You're like that meme where it's like, I can't talk to anyone without having my first cup of coffee.
Yeah, that's me.
Don't talk to me until I had my first cup of coffee.
Yeah, that's me. Except I'm not as cute about it. I'm
No,
much
you're
more
like
of a bitch.
vicious.
So anyways, we have a plunge pool in the suite that we're getting in Tulum, and it's fucking humid as shit there. So I want to go I ideally would like to drink my coffee and go in the plunge pool and then go to breakfast. But you can't do that in the hotel. You can't do it in the hotel. You can't do it. And Adam's like, well, why don't you go get your coffee and come back? And I'm like,
oh no.
and I'm like, listen, I think the coffee comes with the free breakfast. I think if I order separate, now I'm paying for the
you're paying
coffee when I get the free breakfast.
No.
If I order, he's like, order it to the room. I gotta pay. It's not gonna come in my free breakfast. And he's like, well, I'm sure if you go and you tell them the situation.
You guys are like, look, I'm a fucking bitch about my coffee. But I would
also-
like to take advantage of the plunge bowl. So could you just put it in the free coffee that I get, but bring it to me earlier?
And I'll be back in an hour. Anyways,
Look, I think they will accommodate. There are nice people there.
they are really nice people. I think if I walk up to the buffet, just get myself a coffee, walk away, come back, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Anyways,
All right.
Okay, let's get to the point of this wonderful episode. Is a while ago, who the fuck knows what order you sisters are listening to these episodes, because I don't know which order they're coming out. We did a Q&A.
Oh.
Our last Q&A that we did, we had one question left that I thought was so good that I
Yes.
wanted to dedicate a whole episode to it. One of you sisters asked, how do you balance your different businesses, all pulling your time from the others? And I loved this question because I'm not saying that I'm necessarily in this category, but I look at women that I admire who have multiple things going on, whether they have a podcast and a business, or they have two businesses, or they whatever they have, right? And they're a mom, and et cetera. And I'm just like, I want to know tactically how all of this works. Like, I want to know the logistics. I want to know the Google Cal. I want to know
And the real shit too. Like
how you do
I remember
this.
Lauren Elizabeth posted the other day and she was like, I was looking at all these moms and being like,
Yeah.
how the fuck are they all doing it? And then one of them told me like, oh, I have help. But she's like,
Yeah.
well, why don't you share that? Like, literally, I've been tricked to thinking that no one has help.
I think Lauren posted that she like doesn't have a nanny,
She
and
doesn't.
I think I texted her.
And you're like, are you good?
I'm like, are you
bro?
Are you okay? Like, you should get one.
I know. I think she did because she thought no one had one.
No, that's like I never. Let's talk about the nanny conversation.
Because everyone on the internet just like is trying to claim that they do it all.
No, that's like so crazy. I never fell into that trap because I never understood what the fuck. First of all, I never understood why a nanny is taboo. I don't get it. I understand that it is a luxury to pay for full-time care.
Yeah, it's a luxury.
But women
I think it's a luxury.
who
That's
go
why.
back to work in an office are either putting their child in daycare or they have a nanny.
Yeah.
Women go back to work at 3 months. Where the fuck do you think the baby is? Not with the mom, not in the cubicle. The baby is with a nanny or in daycare. That is how the world works if you are a working mother, period. End of story. Next question, right?
Are they saying it's taboo if you have a nanny and you don't, and you're a stay-at-home mom, maybe?
No, I think nannies, I think the taboo part about nannies is that it's obviously costs way more to have a nanny than it is to put your child in daycare.
Oh,
So
I see.
It's a luxury
Okay,
to
it's
have
a
a nanny.
luxury.
It's
Like,
a luxury to have a nanny.
Do you scream at people that have Lamborghinis? Like,
No, you don't scream at men who have Lamborghinis.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Also, when you hire a nanny, it's because you are going to a place of work to then invest in your future earning potential if you choose to go back to work, all this stuff. Regardless, I hate that that's a taboo situation.
yeah.
Women are not running businesses and with their children at home. Not happening.
No, of course you can't.
Not happening.
I sat with Lily for 1 second, and I was like, I'm gonna just try to post something on Instagram
doesn't
really quickly for Camber. Absolutely not.
It doesn't work.
She brought over the lipstick. Open.
She probably takes your hand and tries to.
Literally, I'm just like, bitch, I'm trying to work. And no, you can't work.
You can't do it.
You can't work.
can't do a Zoom call. You can't.
You
Especially
can't
like
do anything.
you
I don't
can do
understand.
it a little bit if only calls are with your team because like it's appropriate to have your baby if you are the owner of the business and you have a
But
team.
like,
But if I have a client, someone has to watch
but
Lily.
regardless, the mental
No, it doesn't
capacity,
work.
because you're thinking about, even if she's sitting there playing and occupied, it's still,
No.
you can't.
My number one tip to moms who work or have businesses is to separate church and state as much as possible.
What if people work at home?
You have to go to a coffee shop. Let me tell you why. Mom brain and working brain are two totally different things. And I
Yeah.
remember going to my office, working, coming home and being like, wait a minute, I need to like very significantly shift gears here.
Yeah.
It is a gear and it takes finessing and it takes time to learn how to switch out and in of those gears. I find that when I'm the most overwhelmed and stressed, it is because I'm trying to watch Lily and finish an email at the same time.
Yeah, you can't.
So when work is done, you just have to be like, work is done. I will finish the email when she goes to bed. But I find the best way to be a present mom and a happy entrepreneur is when I work, when I'm with Lily, Does that mean I'm perfect? No. I will check my email if Lily isn't looking right. And I'll just like see if something happened on Instagram, etc. But because it's hard, especially as an entrepreneur, like your businesses are your life. It's not like a 9-to-5 situation. So it's hard to unplug the mentalness of it. There's a lot of times when I'm watching Lily and I'm strategically planning things in my head or I'm thinking about a strategy of this or that or that, the other. But the most important thing is that your active work cannot happen while you're with your child. You will go fucking insane. You will resent your kid. You will get frustrated. You will get overwhelmed. And then I am not the best parent I can be to Lily. So as much as I possibly can, unless I'm on a deadline and, in this conversation, we're going to leave room for nuance. Life happens. It doesn't always work out. But the more I can work when I work, be with Lily when I'm with Lily, I'm a better mom. I'm a more present mom. I'm happier. I'm less stressed. And I'm just more overall fulfilled. So that's my thing on that. That really wasn't the question, but we'll talk about how we juggle all of the business stuff.
Okay.
I have a lot of opening thoughts, but you're just
Okay.
sitting there. So do you want to say something?
Well, I'm trying to think really. I guess I haven't.
I mean, I do like way more OK Sister stuff than you do. Like from a time, like I have
Okay.
to drive here. Like,
right, of course.
Yeah.
Well, wait, are we talking about the podcast or we're talking about our businesses?
how do you juggle Camber and OK Sister and your personal stuff? Like,
Oh, I see.
you have a lot of different facets of your work life that happen.
Sure.
You're like, it's one big hodgepodge.
The thing is, that's why I was hesitant about this question. Is like, I know you have very like thought out thoughts about this.
Yeah.
I haven't had a moment to like reflect on how it all gets done. It
Mhm.
just kind of does. I think if I look back, because it's funny, whenever I meet someone for Camber, people are like, oh my God, you guys are doing so much. Like, oh my God, you're everywhere. And I agree. And we are doing so much. And I recognize that. I think one, I have support,
Mhm.
which is key. Lauren, my co-founder, who essentially plans most of the events and helps with a lot of the logistics and operation stuff on that end. We have Ro, who is our partnerships girl, who basically handles all of the deal flow for
Mhm.
Camber, which has been truly like, I mean, the only reason I'm able to even work on Camber anymore. So in those facets, I have support. But the rest of the day, and the reason I'm hesitant is like a lot of what I'm doing day to day right now, I'm actually trying to outsource most of
Mhm.
that. So that's, you know, I love writing the newsletter, but like the formatting of the newsletter, right? Or I love going to a restaurant and taking content and being that and creating content, but the editing and the posting and the captions, I'm trying to outsource. I create all the event links for our events. That I should be outsourcing. I do all the ads for our newsletter. Like
Mhm.
there are so many things. I do all the invoicing. I do the finance. So it's interesting because right now I have certain things like Mondays I do the newsletter, Tuesdays I do the specific things to do TikTok that we post on the whatever. I have like a call with our content girl who we plan out the week of content, so then I can kind of schedule when I'm gonna create the content for the rest of the
Mhm.
week. If there's events that we're planning, I talked with the team about what needs to be done or if I need to do outreach. It's like it is week by week. It's different, but there are also like tent poles of like certain tasks I get done on certain days. That being said, a lot of what I've been doing is very in the weeds, and I've been trying to figure out what that next evolution of my time looks like and my week looks like
Mhm.
when I remove all of those things. So that's kind of why I'm like a little I'm not going to
Okay.
have a great answer to
Okay.
this.
Well, there's two different questions here. The one that you're answering is time management. The one that this girl's asking is how do you juggle it all? So
Okay.
I'll start with the foundation of what my answer is, and then I think you'll have a lot to say.
Okay.
It's very similar to the execution episode where like you felt like you didn't know what to say, and then you had like all these
Yeah.
amazing tips. So okay, so one, I like to say that this is years in the making. So you start with one thing and then you add on a different business or a different project and you grow. And then once it grows, you hire support and that's how you keep going. So if you're just starting a business, do not compare your day one to whatever day that we're on right now. I like to say that like if this is overwhelming you and it's not going to get you started on a business, then turn it off and come back once you've gotten it and started. But I love to say that because it's not as if Mady and I are doing all of these things. It's that we've put one step in front of the other, and then you hire someone to do something, you outsource, you find a flow that works for you, it gets easier, and that's how, as you move
You
forward,
automate
you
things.
automate things, you can do things. But I don't think that you and I could have started day one doing all of the things that we do from the beginning, right?
Mhm.
Like you have to get really good at the first thing and then move on. Um, so the way that I look at it, I have tiers. So as much as so right now I have Scouts Agency, I have this podcast, and I have review, right? I have tiers of priority, and Mady does as well,
Mhm.
maybe like without knowing it. But if Camber needs your attention for a paid client, OK Sister takes the back burner on
Mhm.
something. Like we don't need to post something that day if you are having something that really needs your attention at Camber.
Mhm.
We can move a recording if something really needs my attention at the agency. So we have priorities. Like
Mhm.
every day, Scouts Agency will always take my priority because Scouts Agency is the thing that pays the bills. It's the
Mhm.
thing that supports my team.
Mhm.
It's my main business from a revenue perspective. So I try to, it's been really helpful to batch OK Sister. I come up to LA once or twice a week. We do
Once or twice a month.
once or twice. Sorry, yes. once or twice a month. We record 2 to 3 days. And then I do the audio editing and the video editing. And then we hire someone to cut all the reels. We do our own scheduling, etc. But OK Sister, for me, I work a lot on the weekends sometimes on OK Sister. Like I'll do the editing Sunday before the Monday sometimes, or, maybe at night every now and then. I try to get it done during the day. But because it's not the thing that harps on my survival, it's the thing that I get to after, right? That being said, I'm so committed to this podcast that I always get it done. But you and I are more flexible on deliverables around the podcast. Every day, my day is usually dictated by what my agency needs, what my team needs, what my clients need, what my inbox looks like. Like if a client is, concerned about something, I'm clearing my day to get on a call with them. So it's difficult for me to batch my days because I do need to be flexible for what my agency needs of me. Now, sometimes it doesn't need a lot for me one day, right? So I've tried to do this and it's worked-ish, but I'll try to do like Tuesdays. I'll get my OK Sister editing done. It does not take the whole day, but I just put that on my Tuesday task. And then I like to leave a full Thursday or a full day for review. That doesn't always happen. This Thursday, I do have a full day for review, and I'm so excited. Review is built. I'm figuring out an Instagram post when Lily goes to bed. I'm writing an article during Lily's nap on Saturday. I'm, taking a call during a drive with someone to help me out with something. It's built in the in-between moments right now. But that's how I think of it. I have priorities, and to be honest, I feel all the time I'm not. I have a million ideas for what I want to do with OK Sister. I want to get us the website. I want to do this. I want to do that. It's just not the thing that I can get to immediately. I have so many things for review, but it's not the thing I can get to immediately.
Yeah.
So I get to my agency first. Once I'm locked, loaded, everything's good, clients are happy, sales are good, money's working, the results are working. That's when I work on the other things. So I have a priority system. That's how I juggle it all. Now, to elevate beyond that, right? It would be hiring a full operator for my agency or a full operator for review or something like that, right? That would be the next level, what your next level is.
Yeah.
So I just like to say that because it's not as if while I go back and forth between review, OK Sister, and Scouts Agency, Scouts Agency will always take priority on deadlines.
Yeah. I think I like to be systemized as much as possible. And I wish, sisters, I could give you a formula of, do this and structure your day exactly like this. But I've kind of accepted that it is chaos.
Yeah.
I know.
I never get those people who successfully batch their days. I don't know how that really works.
I try, and people. I also get confused a little bit about meaningful work versus admin work versus this. It's I would love, which I actually do this, which probably isn't great, but I'll batch my emails and then just never look at them the rest of the day.
No, that's
not good.
No, that's amazing.
So this is the thing.
I'll
give you the real shit.
I look at my email. Okay. I'll give you the real shit about my email.
I'll give you the real shit about
I
my
look at
email.
my email constantly because my email for my agency is so tied, and I'm trying to unlearn this, but I think every business owner can understand this at one point or another. It's so tied to my survival. I look at emails to make sure everything's okay.
Oh, for sure. Look, yes, if there is a crazy email, that I will see it and I will respond.
Yeah.
That is usually not the case. I typically wake up at 5 a.m. and I'll work until 9, and I'll do all my emails during that time because no one can respond to me, which it is such a mind fuck for me. I've put off an email and then I respond to them and they respond right away. We're back to square one.
Yeah. I like a Sunday email session for that.
I do it either in the morning or I do it right before bed. I will just respond to everyone so that no one can respond to me. Again, I don't know if that's good or bad. If you work in a job that literally the correspondence over email is your entire job, that does not work for you. But I'm just saying, for me, I have people that respond to things and schedule things. So for me to respond, it's really only deadlines or things that I need to get back to, but it's not, I don't need to be on there all the time. So that's something
Oh,
personally,
jealous.
that I love about my job is that, and that, because corporate America, what I had to unlearn is the responding within 1 second. Like I was tethered.
We have to put a disclaimer on your industry and your job.
Absolutely. So that's what
I
I'm
have
saying.
to respond immediately
like,
to a client.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
like for instance, I used to work in account management. I was managing accounts, right? Or like brands. And so yeah, if they like email me, I'm a customer service almost in that
totally.
way. So it was like, yeah, immediately you get a response. So there was that. So but going into Camber where it's a little different, that type of work, I had to unlearn that and be like, oh, it's okay if I don't respond to this person in the next 48 hours. Like,
Also, wait, really quickly, if you work in client management, sometimes it's best to not reply instantly because the same way you train your friends as to like,
right. 'Cause
you know,
then
if your friends think you can get back to them immediately, that's what they're going to expect. So if a client emails me on a Sunday, even if it's something important, I will like be like, do not answer till tomorrow. Do not answer till tomorrow.
Because
if it's
then
not
they
like
can
time
expect.
sensitive, yeah, because then they expect that you'll email them on the weekends.
That's so interesting. I guess I just don't have a pattern. So like I'll respond, but then I'll respond right away, but then I won't respond for a couple days.
But
I
you don't
know.
have clients. It's different.
I don't have clients. Well, we have
different.
brands that we work with, so there
but-
is that element to it. But yeah, so I'll wake up really early and do like I'll batch emails and then I'll batch like operational tasks. Like I basically put like a block in my calendar that says miscellaneous, and then I'll put bullet points of like just shit that takes 15 minutes here, 10 minutes here, 15 minutes, whatever. And I'll batch it into 1 hour and I'll get all that done in that hour. Then, content typically takes me 2 hours a day, maybe more. So I'll batch that in a certain time. So it's like there is batching happening, but it's not the way I think that my next frontier of time management is I need to fix my Notion template of my to-do list, because right now every task is basically holds the same weight, which like I need it to be distinct, like very prioritization, but also like length of time. So for instance, writing the newsletter, that's like a task on my Mondays, but then the next task could be like follow up with this person, and just like the newsletter holds so much more weight, and it is the number one. Like it should not be like next to like a task that small.
Yeah.
So that's my next thing is I need to be putting things in priority, because it also kind of tricks my brain to be like, oh, I completed the only thing I needed to get done today, right? Like people say you should only have like 1 to 3 huge things, and then everything else should be just like icing on the cake. And so I've struggled with that, where I've like created like laundry lists of things that is so so overwhelming that I end up not doing anything, which is not great. So that's my next learning.
Yeah, I don't, it's so interesting. I don't have you're always so much more micro than I am, and I'm always so much more macro. I don't have systems for my organization, for my to-do lists. I hold a lot in my brain. Like there's like, people say there's a method to the madness, which is why whenever I bring in like a systems person or operations person, they're like, what? Because there's no systems.
I know.
But I know where everything is in my head.
Totally.
Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason to what I'm working on that day, or like.
But I think that's really empowering and inspiring to hear, because
I have none of those systems.
Right. Yeah. But that's what's inspiring, is that I feel like everyone's yelling at me on Instagram to have systems and to have all this shit. And like, I get it, obviously, for the right person and for the right brain. So again, as we say with this podcast, with everything we say, it's like it all just comes down to like what works for you, right? And so if Pomodoro method doesn't work for you, throw it out the window. If this doesn't work, like throw it out the window. Like just do. And if you're kind of there's a method to the madness, the chaos is where you live, and it's working, like that's what works for your brain. Like that's fine.
Yeah, I think there's a couple things. depends what your job is, depends if it's a job or if you run the business. It depends what industry you're in, and it depends the nature of your work, because all of these tips are going to be very dependent on those things. For me, my main thing is like, first thing, check the agency. We're all good. Perfect. My next rule is I don't bang my head against a wall if it's not working. Like if I am so tired or I have brain fog and I'm just not, is not hitting, right? I do something else. I move on. I get in a car. I would take a walk, etc. But a lot of my juggling comes down to the fact that I want it. That's it. Like, I'm not trying to hack my juggle. I'm not trying to like perfect my juggle. I'm not trying, like, yes, I'm like, I always constantly think of things in the sense of, okay, one day I should outsource that because that's not where my highest value is. And I think that's the most important thing that a business owner needs to always be looking at. How can I get myself out? How can I buy my time back? How can someone else do this for me? And if you don't have the resources to do it today, that's okay. But if you're thinking about it that way, the minute you do have the resources, you'll know. There's a lot of things I don't have the resources to outsource, but I have a list of what I would like that to look like. And I continuously work on how can I outsource, delegate, outsource, delegate, outsource, delegate, so I can be in my better zone of genius. But for me, how I do my agency, this podcast and review, like genuinely, and be a mom, like genuinely just comes down to the fact that I
That
want
you
it.
want it, yeah.
I want it. I want it more than anything. Like I have such a hunger for everything I'm doing that I will do it all, right? Like I will figure out a way to get it in. And I want to be really, really transparent that I want it all so badly that I am okay with being highly overwhelmed some days. I'm okay with being really stressed out some days. I'm okay with being like, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I doing all this some days? Like, doing all of this is not an easy thing for me most of the times. There are so many times where I feel so overwhelmed. Now, Emma Grede said, if you're living a big life and you're going towards your dreams, a third of your life you will feel like absolute shit.
Yeah.
A third of your life you'll feel like okay, like neutral, like whatever. And a third of your life you're going to feel really fucking good. And
Is that all at once, or you're
no,
saying
like
different
like during the month,
phases?
like during the week, like
Oh, I see.
like if your life is out of balance, like if you're too happy or if you're too neutral or if you're too bad, then it's out of balance. But she's like, that's what she lives by, a third, a third, a third. And I'm like good with a third of my life being really overwhelmed or stressed out or like overworked or tired or
And some
self-doubting.
people don't want that. So
Totally.
yeah.
Some people don't want that. And that's what I'm trying to say is like, I don't want to paint this picture that I do what I do and every day I feel like a balanced, fulfilled, aligned, happy, empowered, safe person. I call
Absolutely
Mady like
not.
literally crying all the time.
Absolutely
But the
not.
point being is that like I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And even when I'm going through it, even if I say otherwise, I know that I chose this all the time. So that's what it comes down to for me is that I'm just like, I'm willing to do what it takes to do this all.
Well, you're really connected to the why. You're connected to the higher mission.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I forget the higher mission. And that makes it really that puts you in the discomfort real quick and the overwhelm real quick. So sometimes I feel like I put the overwhelm on me when it doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
Like even, I'll give you an example. I was writing the newsletter this morning. Like, dream thing to be paid to do, right? I'm literally writing a newsletter where I'm sourcing amazing and cool events around the city, supporting small businesses, something that people glean so much value from and look forward to every week. Like, I forget that.
Yeah,
I sit there and I'm like, ugh, I have to fucking write this. Like, ugh, like it's taking so long. It's so tedious. It's back and forth and all this and then the links and the here and the whatever, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? Like, why can't I don't know. I go back and forth because I'm like, it's still work. It's still
You
this.
need to go and take some ayahuasca because this is like the life. This is like the thing for you. This is the thing around work for you.
I know. I think I hate tasks. Like, I don't know what it
But
is.
that's also normal to hate
Well, that's what I'm saying is like,
tasks.
I even asked
You think I like to
Benji.
cut reels when
Yeah,
I have to cut reels?
right.
No.
But like, I feel like people are able to do it and get past that. Like I was talking to Benji last night and I
Uh-huh.
said, do you think that you're a workaholic? And he was like, no, I think I used to be, but I don't think I am anymore. And I was like, I'm not at all. Like, I do not understand people who are addicted to working.
Mhm.
I don't understand how you could be so addicted and fulfilled doing like those menial tasks.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it's so like it's fun to put on events and that I do and go to content and that stuff of my job is fun. But most of the time, as you're saying, the third is like kind of whatever and boring and normal. It's like you got to get comfortable with that like whatever space. But I really don't understand people who are like addicted to the whatever space.
That's not being a workaholic, in my opinion.
Oh, that's what I think it is.
Oh, no. I love it when you say you're not a workaholic because you work more than most people.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I'm a workaholic at all. Like at all.
You work harder and more than most people I know. And I love it when you say
Like
that.
that's so crazy. Like this is why this whole episode
love
I was
it.
like I don't know what to talk about because I don't
I love
understand
it when
what
you
you're
say,
saying.
I'm not a workaholic. You work more and harder than most people I know. You and I have pretty on par work ethics.
See, that just like
Being
doesn't.
a workaholic is not enjoying the middle. First of all, being a workaholic is because you can't stand still and you have an issue, and so you distracting yourself with work and you don't know how to turn it off and you don't know how to enjoy your life and you don't know how to live outside of your work. Do I have a little bit of that? Yeah, like work is very consumed into my identity for sure. But when I think of workaholics, I think of the dad or the mom who
Like,
misses the thing because they can't say no to the work thing. I think
yeah,
of
no, that
that's
doesn't really happen.
that's the workaholism I think of like I can't be there for you. I can't be there for my family. I can't be there for my friends. I'm not remembering. I'm not prioritizing and keeping in perspective the sacred and holy and beautiful things in my life that are not work, right? Like I will never jeopardize my relationship because of work. I will never jeopardize my role as a mother because of my work. And at the same point, I will never give up the part of me that loves to work because I will not abandon myself as well. So
yeah, like I'm very good at like
I have a mission.
yeah.
Like my work is like a mission. I have a clear goal. I know where I want to be in 5 years. And I have an ambition that I will do what it takes to do certain things. I won't do everything that it takes to get there, right? Like I have parameters. But being a workaholic is not necessarily something to aspire to, but finding alignment and working hard and often for a mission that you believe in that gives you a beautiful life that is exciting is a beautiful thing that a lot of people don't find that I believe you have.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
Like it's shitty because I know how good I have it.
That's not a workaholic or an I like to work or not like to work problem. That's like a life problem.
Okay, so that's a life problem.
Yeah, that's not a work problem. You are, again, one of the hardest working people I know.
Oh, wow.
You work more than most people I know.
Oh.
And that's why like I don't think you see that in yourself.
No, I don't see it at all.
But the level you are by definition a high performer.
Oh.
Like
That's
by
great.
definition, you're a high performer. That is why this question is being asked of you.
Okay. Yeah, I just that's okay. Again. Oh God, my brain. Again, that is why this episode is hard for me because I don't see myself that way. So it's hard for me to deliver advice because I don't really see it.
Yeah.
So I guess
well,
overall,
okay, I'll ask you this last question. How do you view the work that it takes to do this podcast in relation to your week and in relation to your other work? Where does it fit in? How does it fit in?
I just remember during the day to post Okay Sis TikToks.
Yeah, I just remember.
That's like literally the only like I
But
have
that's
it
the
on
thing
my
about the reps is like it
task.
just like becomes
Yeah, I'm like, oh
ingrained.
right, I have to post on
If I just
TikTok.
start if I started another podcast, oh my God, the mental energy it would take to get
Yeah,
into
like
the
it's
zone.
autopilot for us. And
Yeah.
like, yes, then I carve out the days that we podcast and I don't schedule anything in meetings or whatever.
Mhm.
Or some days I'll have to get up again at 5 and do all my work for Camber and then come here for the podcast. Like
Yeah.
you just do it. Like I don't know what else to say. Like you just like
Yeah.
if there's things to do, you do it. Like
Yeah.
you know,
That's like what I'm trying to get at. If you want it,
yeah.
you're gonna do it.
You just kind of do it. I don't, and it's like
There's no hack or
there's the
anything.
basic answer, and it's so lame, but it's just like I kind of just get up and I do it, and then I
See what the day asks of
see
you.
what happens after that. It's such a
Yeah.
bad answer. I'm sorry.
No, but it's not a bad answer.
Yeah.
I love that answer because it's true.
Yeah.
Like there's no
There's no
hack.
like hacky like
There's no
calendar
hack.
blocking. Like I just literally
There's
like
enhancements.
yeah, like
There's
I mean the night
enhancements.
I will say like something that does help me in terms of like mentally because it's hard. I know how difficult it is to like get started on something or like I used to just sit at my desk and be like, what do I do? Like what do I do right now? And it was just it's too much mental energy, whatever. The day before, which I'll do every night, which is very, very key, is like basically planning out your next day and just it takes like 3
Yeah,
seconds,
just
like 3
writing it
minutes, just like
down.
literally writing down what you need to get done. And then I again will put that like hour of miscellaneous where it's like those 15-minute ones and I'll group that and then I'll group the content stuff and then I'll be like, oh, and then I have a coffee meeting here. Okay, let me go there. But then maybe I'll do a workout after since I'm already out. So it's like I plan it. Whereas if there were days I spent years like this where I would just wake up and be like paralyzed where I was like, I don't know what to do.
Mhm.
And Ben taught me this. It seems so simple, but it's like if you literally write it out in your calendar, it's like, okay, what am I supposed to be doing right now? That. Do it. Like you take out the mental gymnastics of like, what am I supposed to do? Da da da. Just make it simpler for you.
Yeah, write everything
Like
down.
literally from this hour to this hour, I'm doing this. Do it.
Yeah, but also like again, this is all a journey. Like once you start,
Absolutely.
once you get through, you'll know what works for you. You keep going to the point where it becomes so many of your tasks become automatic that you can't imagine not doing it that week. So it like Okay Sister podcast is just so on automatic. I don't
Yeah.
know when it gets done, but it does somehow every week. And there's just not an option for it to not get done.
Yeah.
But it's flexible, as I said, in relation to my other priorities.
Yeah. I think something about me that people probably don't expect is that I take a lot of breaks and I take a lot of time, like
Mhm.
personal time.
Mhm.
Like I love to work out. I love to take my
Mhm.
time. The reason I wake up so early is because I like to take my time.
Yeah.
I don't like to be rushed and I place a lot of emphasis on my relationships and my personal life and reading and like people that's why when people think I do so much, I'm like, oh, I'm like just reading romance novels on the weekends. Like I don't know. So it's just I do make sure I have like that
Yeah.
time. I'm
Yeah.
not the type of startup person that works 12 hours a day.
Yeah. And, when you're a mom, when you're a mom, everything's different.
Yeah, there's gonna be no more reading for me.
Yeah. When you're a mom, you are living that 24/7 startup life because if you're not on your business,
Your
you're
baby is your
running
startup.
after
Your baby is your
There was
startup.
this reel that I saw, those ones of like what they don't tell you about having kids.
Sure.
It goes, what they don't tell you about having kids is how many times you have to get up from where you're sitting. I've never related to something more. Like we're
Oh
all
my
always like,
God.
Lily, why don't we just sit here?
That's so funny.
Why do I have to
That's-
walk 5 feet and
That's so
all
funny
she does is
because-
grab my hand and move me.
It's so funny because I live in the smallest apartment and I won't get up even to just like turn off the light or something.
Oh.
Like I'll be like, Benjun, can you just
When you
can
have a
just
kid,
get me that?
when you have a
Like,
kid, I don't need to work out because the amount of physical activity I do, just following her,
Yeah.
picking her up, moving from one corner of the room to the other.
mhm.
It is a lot of movement. It's a very physical job, let me tell you. I'm not good with the manual labor, so I've had to get used to it. Anyway, sisters.
Well, I hope this episode was somewhat helpful. Maybe it was relatable in a way to hear me say those things, but
I
I
think it
also
was.
now I'm like go second guessing and being
Okay,
like, do
but
I
no.
need to do I need to be more kind to myself and give myself more credit and be like and take that title of hardworking and claim it because
Yes.
I've never claimed it before.
Yes.
So I think I need to, that's why I'm like,
Yes.
I'm mad a little bit at myself for downplaying.
You don't have to be mad at yourself. This is why we do this podcast. This is
Mm-hmm.
how we grow. This is how we sisters, we're having these episodes to hopefully provide value, but we learn on the mic just
Totally.
as much as you do. But I would love to see you claim yourself as a hard worker. I don't think you realize that a majority of people who have dreams and have businesses or want to have dreams of owning businesses or have dreams of starting podcasts or have any sort of dreams, most people do not execute and work the way you do. And that's why I always say certain things, because I like people to understand the reality of it. Like, I always come back to that one time we did the execution episode while I was in the car before getting my eyebrows done, in between like work and nannies and schedules and stuff, because that was the only time I had to fit it in. So I drove to the nail salon or to the eyebrow salon, sat there, recorded it over the phone. Like, that level of stuff, which is what you do too, that level of commitment is what allows us to do all of these things that we do.
See. Yeah.
And that level of work, most people haven't come into themselves yet. And this is not to, by the way,
shame you.
Shame most
anyone.
people.
Yeah.
The point is I'm trying to show you that you are a very, very high performer, and I'm trying to show the reality of what it takes to have something like Camber and have something like this podcast. Like, 6 years of doing what we've done. I'm sorry, like, sisters, we don't really make money off this thing. Like, we make money and it goes all back into it. Like, Mady and I have literally not taken home personally a dime in 6 years. We make our ad money. It's an expensive hobby. It's an expensive thing to do. 6 years we've done this.
Yeah.
I have a kid. I drive up here and leave her for a day or two.
Yeah.
Most people don't do that. And
Yeah.
that's the point that I want to like show you is that you do that.
I guess I just don't know what hard work is. And maybe I just like am thinking it's something different.
You think hard work is being punished.
Yeah, I think hard work is like being stressed and punished and depressed.
No, that's
that's
not
only-
my definition of hard
That's
work.
literally my definition. So that's why I don't like to claim that.
Isn't it funny how people have, like, that's why the perspective behind words matter for every person.
For sure.
Yeah.
Anyways, well, I love you, sisters. And I know that you are all capable, hardworking, driven individuals.
Yeah.
And I think my biggest takeaway from this is do what works for you. Like, get out of the advice from everyone, which I think I fell into a lot. And then I kind of just accepted the past month or so.
It's a distraction.
I was just like, look,
It's a distraction because you
what
don't.
comes, what goes, what this, like what happens the day. It's like you can't plan. It's like if you plan too much, you're like, and then everything goes to shit. So it's just like,
just do you.
just like a chaotic, like acceptance in the chaos.
I love it when, I realize that content like this, like how to do the morning routine and how to optimize your time and how to do all these things, like that at some point becomes a distraction from actually getting to the work. And I find that some of the most successful people that get interviewed, they don't have a 5-hour morning routine. They don't have a Pomodoro method in their calendar. They don't have all that stuff because they're like, I'm working. Like I'm like doing the shit, And I find that to be so refreshing. And so I think we need a little bit more of that. While these things can totally help us, I think you should just ask yourself what you want out of life, what you want your days to look like, what you want your goals to be, and pursue that relentlessly, whether that is, working 12 hours a day, whether that's working 3 hours a day, whether that's living on a beach and, I don't know, selling whatever, whether it's being in corporate. Like, there's no better or worse option. There's no good or bad here. It's just finding what you want and really going for that.
Okay, I know we have to go soon, but there was one thing I saw on TikTok that it was positioned as a beautiful sentiment, but then I thought about it more and it made me really sad. This girl said that with her and her friends, she has something called Save the Day. And it's basically where they text each other and they say, how did you save the day today? Because you're, getting so wrapped up in work, you're just, working all day. Like, what did you do to like claim back the day for it to be yours and for you? So like, did you cook a meal? Did you read? Did you like whatever? What is something? Did you go on a walk? And at first it's like, oh, it's so beautiful. Like, that's so cute. And like, yeah, enjoying the simple pleasures. But I was just like, why does your day need saving?
Yeah, no, it sounds like a terrible way to live.
So I kind of, I started feeling really sad. And then I started feeling guilty because I was like, a lot of the things I do are those save the day things. Like I have multiple things that I do to save my day. But I also just like, I incorporate, like, I literally read every day. I cook, I walk, I work out, I do these things. Like I do fun things every single day.
It sounds like you just have a good life.
Yeah, like and yes, I'm working, but it's not something that needs saving. It doesn't need like
Okay, so this is the conversation that I always get into, and people don't understand why I feel this way. People say, do you live to work or do you work to live?
yeah.
Working to live sounds so depressing to me because it feels like you have to do this thing
Yeah, against your will.
against your will to like live this way. Like you just got to put in the hours. You just got to do the thing. You got to get the thing that's going to pay the bills, and then you can go and read and walk and blah, 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 blah. Like that's what that feels like to me. Living to work feels like having an integrated, embodied, full holistic perspective of my day. That's not 9 to 5. I do my work so then I can go live. It's like, it's like, oh my God, I just put my kid down, my baby down to sleep. So beautiful. We hugged, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, this reel's going off. I forgot to post one. Let me post one real quick. I'm loving it. Okay, now I'm going to turn off because I know I'm not going to go to bed. Like that's working. That's living to work, in my opinion, where it's just like this. It's a flow. It's a dance. It's all happening. It's all part of my greater mission. The other way feels transactional, in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah. So, yeah, I knew you would appreciate that because when I saw that, I was like, oh, wait, no, I don't want to save the day.
I don't want to save my day. Yeah.
I want the whole day to be those things.
Well, I
don't know.
admire you. I
Thank
think
you.
that most people admire, everyone that listens admires you. So.
Oh, thank you. Well, I admire you too, Scout.
Thanks. Okay, sisters, you can follow us on Instagram at OkSisterPod to watch all of our fun bite-sized reels, or you can watch this on YouTube. If you're only listening on audio, what are you doing? Go over to YouTube.
What is you doing?
Go over. There's a link in the show notes. And if you feel like we deserved it, give us a little 5-star rating and review. We love hearing from you.
Love you.
Love you. Bye.